And hello, everyone. And I wasn't sharing this with Tank, but I was showing kind of a 1950s street gang. I forgot to show it to you, but while the music
the Sharks
was
versus the Warriors,
something like that. Yeah, the switchblade came out, right, and they started to rumble, right?
Yeah, Pony Boy, the outsider, sure.
So I'll have to find a good piece for that for the beginning, right?
Yeah. That's fun.
Sure. Well, welcome to the front lines. I'm Dan Lutz. I'm here with my co-host
Tank,
and we're here in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. How's it going with you, Tank?
pretty exciting day. Lots going on. Yesterday I told you about the transfers going through with Kim, and I had reported on it during the day, and I mean they went through, but then the banks didn't credit the account, so we can't spend the money yet, right? And then the credit markets went down yesterday, right? And Thomas had reported that on Thursday night, so it was obviously a planned event, right? But Kim had transferred the money earlier in the week, like Wednesday or Tuesday or something, and then they showed that the money was in the account, but it was pending bank credit, right? Yeah. And it was held off till Friday. So if it was a planned event, I'm not sure if this is right, by the way, but it seems like, they suddenly were going to stop being able to credit the market to avoid crediting those accounts, right?
Yeah, by the way, the stock market is falling.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, the credit markets went back up today, actually, is what I was told.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying the other things going on while this was happening was the stock market was falling.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, so the stock market dropped to 4,000 points this week, right? And it would have dropped another 5,000 if the credit market stayed down, right? So you would have had all these massive gains that would have just been brought down back down to 20,000. Yeah. So I'm thinking Trump wouldn't let that happen because it would definitely that'd be very hurtful, right? After all the talk about the thriving economy.
Well, Trump did say that he was liking what he was seeing with the market dropping. He may tweeted about that. Well, and it's really because you need to have the bear market for the next bull run, right? So you need to pull back. This also gets the excuse for the Fed to lower the rate another percentage, a whole percentage, and that adds all this super fuel to this Wall Street economy, and it's going to soar through the roof. Also bringing up everyone's 401ks. It'll end up more money in the market. Wages continue to rise. So I think it's all part of the plan is to let this thing drop in, and they also knew that what their plan was to release this or release this fear porn, right, about a virus, right, which is not to say that it's not viruses are bad and they kill people, but this virus, this particular virus is not really as worse as some of the others, and not as mild as some of the others. So, but it is something that is that we're experiencing this roll up, right? So does the credit market going down? Is it planned? Is it part of something that Kim, orchestrated? To squeeze, people into position that were not complying. It would seem like they're also at risk when things are dropping, right? They lose their they're tied to their bank accounts, right? When they see the things dropping, or their stock market, and then they see that it's dropping. Oh, I just lost $1 billion. Maybe we should let the money move into the system.
Yeah, I think that it really puts pressure on both sides, right? Because even the good guys or potential good guys, right, have been blocking because they just don't know any better, right? They just don't realize, that there's a better way that's here, right? That's happening now. So they fight it all the time because they're used to bank credit, they're used to, debt instruments and things like that.
Right.
So, Ben Fulford has been reporting the Rothschilds are calling in their debt, but that's not actually true, right? Really, Kim called in the Rothschilds' debt.
And so they said, "Oh, wait, you got to pay us so we can pay our debt."
Oh, no, right. Right, that was us. That was us, right? That's how they invented the term the quantum financial system, right? Because there's a real quantum mapping system, so they created the myth of the quantum financial system. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Really, I'm sure it's not hard to say for someone who understands it better than me, but just based on my ignorance on this particular, bank credit thing, I'm not really sure. So I know that we've been in a situation where we were waiting for them to credit our accounts before.
Right.
However, we've never been this far advanced in the system, and Kim hasn't really pushed a transfer like this in a while. So she wouldn't do that unless she was confident that she could get it all the way through, which she did. She got all the way through to the account, right? So that's the key. And then now getting their approval will be the next piece. So right now I'm leaning towards, if the credit markets would have been down, she might have let them go down yesterday. And then you have to believe there's something here. So Thomas has gotten on Trump a couple times. Like, just do something. Send the military into the banks. Like, do something to get this money out to people. Right? Because make no mistake, as much as we're winning right now, we are, like, they had to let off the gas, right?
Right.
So I was saying how there's a report out there that this chunga mushroom, I think it's called, will actually either prevent or, treat the coronavirus, right? Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. But I do know that there's a nutraceutical company based out of Phoenix, Arizona. And we're working with them, right? Because all of a sudden the Federal Trade Commission just shows up and shuts all their accounts down. Everyone in their family, the husband, the wife, the kids, right? Obviously intending to do harm. Then they're filing to compensate the people that lost money, claiming that these guys are that they're a pyramid scheme, which it couldn't be further from the truth. It's obvious to anyone, right? They offer absolutely no evidence. They have now the owner is a black guy, right? And they have an expert witness come in, and she goes, "Oh yeah," she goes, "I know," they show like 3 sound bites from just a tiny little clip. If you just saw the clip, you'd think that's all there was. But if you saw the sentence before or after, you'd know, oh, that's totally different now, right? Completely changes the meaning.
Right.
They allowed them to present BS evidence like that. They shut everything in their business down for 6 weeks. It's a nutraceutical business, right? Well, the nutraceutical they have is based on mushroom, right? It's this mushroom. And I would imagine that the mushroom is similar, probably a bioidentical of some sort to the chunga mushroom. So they're trying to target, getting things like that are good for people, that can cure whatever, and get that out of the market so people don't have that option, right? So they just shut them down. Going on 6 weeks now. I'm just like, wow, man, that's just insane.
Hello? Hello?
Yep, sorry, I lost it for a minute.
Okay.
So,
I'm sharing with you. I'm sharing you a screen on Medical News Today. 9 potential benefits of the chaga mushrooms.
Oh, there we go. Right.
Yeah. So anyway, just bringing it up because I looked it up.
So their product is it's a slightly different kind of mushroom, but a lot of mushrooms have similar quality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's all types of things with that, right? So they take them out, right? And so it didn't take long before I started getting patterns of recognition of them doing similar things, right? So you have a product called the Beamer, right, which essentially works with your electromagnetic waves and the natural electromagnetic field that is, and it actually opens up microvascular circulation and has, I'm sure, thousands of tertiary benefits. I mean, I've watched people who hadn't walked in years use this one time and get up and with Parkinson's and walk across the room, right? And so this product's been around for 30 years, and all of a sudden they're not allowed to sell it anymore in the United States. So now you're looking at a pattern of behavior, which really seems to imply that anything that's actually holistic in nature isn't heavily regulated and is just healthy for people they're getting rid of. Well, why? Well, for obvious reasons. They want to kill us, right? Yeah. That's the goal. So it's like, that to me is like, oh my gosh. But, this poor guy, I mean, he spent his whole life, the past 20 years building up this business, right? He's very successful. Then they have this witness come in who's an expert witness, right? And she compares multi-level marketing to the same way that the Ku Klux Klan recruits. And then under oath, she says, it's very interesting to me to see how the Ku Klux Klan works, right? Implying that his company is like the Ku Klux Klan, or that he's part of the Ku Klux Klan. It's a black guy, right?
Of course.
Right.
I've two things to comment on. One, I can completely understand what it means when they decide that they're going to basically remove all your bank accounts and say, oh, you can't do business anymore, right? So I've experienced that, so I get it. The other thing I've known for a long time is that the aspect of network marketing, multi-level marketing, the one thing that it does is it, for very little money, if not even no money, you can get started in a business and you can make a really good amount of money for yourself and run it as a business. And I think that this is a big threat to them because it makes people independent, right? And they can make wealth. There was the king of network marketing. I forgot what his name is, but back in the 1970s, he made the most amount of millionaires. I wish I remember his name, but he actually had gone around anywhere he went, really famous, but he didn't want to play the game, the politics game, right? And he was coerced by the politicians, to contribute, right? And he wouldn't. Right. He didn't want to play. The guy had built a castle with all his money. He had done a lot of charitable things. He was dynamic and really just going out. And his intent was to make a million millionaires, right? Legitimate millionaires. And of course, they couldn't have that happen. So they went after him with the IRS, right? And he was diligent in his taxes and everything, but they tore him down, and years of going after him. But then I saw throughout I'm doing network marketing now in a way, but there's an affiliate program attached to the Gold Brand coin, right? Because the power of it is velocity. Once it starts rolling, people start spreading because everyone starts making money. Everyone gets happy, right? So hey, we're making money, right? And it's again, very little cost to get involved and so on. So I get it, right? I never consider myself a network marketer, right? But in the industry itself, I mean, I've dealt with some people, high level. People that were also in the trade industry of network marketing, how they're trying to protect their industry. But what I see is they literally create the scenarios to for fraudsters, right? And they let it fester, right?
Yeah.
And they give the whole industry a bad name to the point at which now they can claim anything that's network marketing is not legitimate business, and that's what's going on right now. That even though how no matter how legitimate the business, if you don't have your army of attorneys, right, and you're not one of the $1 billion club in network marketing, even they're trying to make sure that they don't get shut down, right? And they're doing legitimate business. It's just the matter that they want to make sure that they remove any aspect that allows you to be independent,
To thrive.
to thrive,
Yeah.
to thrive.
Right. And I mean, a network is, obviously, if you can harness the energy created by a larger network to build wealth for yourself, is something that's going to be dangerous to them, right?
Yeah.
Now, in this case, now this group, right? This company that we're working with, right? Now, the owner, I mean, he is devastated, right? He's got a 4.5-year-old son, and he was just crushed, right? I mean, this guy, he's spent years helping people with this, right? And they have the most transparent affiliate program I've ever seen. And pretty much affiliate programs are very common in the nutraceutical supplemental world, right? Everybody knows, everybody does this, right? So it's not a big deal, and it's theirs gets shut down. That means they get shut down every other one too.
Sure.
Right? So it's a landmark case, in my opinion, right? So the lawyers came out, for the guys that are being accused of this, and their statements were good, right? They had their own expert witness. They came out with 4,000, fresh things from all types of members they have, right? Who had nothing but positive things to say. Thousands and thousands and thousands of text messages and tweets, and people have had these great experiences, right, with this company. And you can virtually find almost nothing negative about the company. But nevertheless, right, they take the whole thing down, right? Don't even consult it. It's they show up, serve notice, their accounts are already frozen. Now, you are doing harm to these people, right? You've conspired against them to do harm to them, right?
Yeah.
So it's a clear constitutional violation, right? So first thing is, we were going through the case, first we need to issue a cease and desist, right? Because the damages that are being done are irreparable. And if you do not cease and desist this injunction you put on their business, because the way that the actual laws read when it comes to, quote, pyramid schemes, is you have to see it in operation to assess what it is. Well, how can you see it in operation if you close the operation of the business down?
Right. Well,
And then,
one of just a comment. So you mentioned affiliate and you mentioned pyramid. So just as a difference, so a lot of people just don't know what the difference is. An affiliate program just is I want to participate with this company and I want to make some money, basically earn commission. Usually that's what it all boils down to. And you're working for yourself for that business. Now, some affiliate programs can they basically don't require, or basically how to say this, you're not required to buy anything from the company in order to make money. That's when it makes makes so that you're an affiliate, right? You're just, hey, you show up to work, right? You just have to say, hey, I'm volunteering to work, and I'm going to bring business, and I'm going to get rewarded for it. So that's an affiliate program. Right. Now, sometimes you can have levels where you're actually developing a team below you, right? You bring in people, and it gets multi-level right? But again, there's no requirement to buy and so things. So that's where it gets a little in the gray area. But when you start talking about pyramid, what is a pyramid scheme? And if you go back and look at what it actually means, is that it's an impossible business model. Right. Meaning that you can what you're offering is if you bring everyone in the whole planet, every individual alive into this business opportunity, the ones at the very bottom won't be able to make anything off of it. right? That's the definition, right? Because there's no one for them to sell to anymore, right? So those people get screwed. So that's where they basically say that's a pyramid and you can't do it anymore. So, but there's a lot of things that come off of that, right? Goes into, you can't, if you charge people, to get into the business and you sell them something. So there's all the ways to get around, being that pyramid scheme. I think the chain letters where this all came about. I think the first lawsuits and about these chain letters, hey, you send me $5, right? And you pass out this letter, and and you copy it, and you paste it out, give it out to all your people, and they have to send you $5, right? And whoever breaks the chain, they get bad luck.
Yeah, which is a horrible thing to do to somebody.
Sure. I mean, I get these, mostly now in the form of Facebook, right? And you got to keep this going, right? Or all these bad things will happen to you.
Oh, jeez.
Now, I generally don't want to do anything related to that at all. But sometimes it's like, well, yeah, I really believe that this is a good thing to tell people about. So then I'm conflicted. Anyway, so that's
yeah.
So I think in general we're facing this system is designed really to stop people from thriving, and it's the people that are divergent, right, that see what's going on and that they go out and make it happen anyway. They get targeted, right, and they make sure that they remove their bank accounts and they send lawsuits at them. They conspire against them because they can't have them do well. And anytime that you have someone that actually, by accident hits it, right? Not really by accident, but they're a sudden success. I mean, too quickly whatever they did, it just caught on. Suddenly, they have $100 million. Their life is great, right? And if
they'll immediately be targeted, called a fraud.
Yeah, or they set them up, right? Or they try to bring them into the fold. If you don't go into the fold, then you will be targeted. And we can we can point out examples, but usually we can know that this is what has been going on. But I was just watching Candace Owens with Glenn Beck. They just had an interview, and
cool.
Candace Owens was going back over her past and how she arrived, what happened, and how she became targeted, right? And Kanye West, and how she when she was recognized by Kanye West, and she was amazed by that, and then but the influence that they have right now to move people is a big threat, and that's why they're being targeted. So all of anything that's going up against this system is being targeted, and we can see it now so clearly because we're now woke enough. We capture that word, woke. We have the Great Awakening, so they had to do something. Oh, we're the woke ones already. You don't need to be awake to be woke.
Woke. I've been woke. Yeah.
So
now go ahead, sir.
I just that we need to really recognize that whether you're whatever color or whatever political affiliation you've had, right? They've just been doing these things to both sides and having us blame the others, and they are the problem, and that's what we have to focus on. See where we're the same, I was thinking that the party system, it's not easy to displace it. So we should just take it over, both parties, Democrat and Republican, by putting people in that are not going to abide by either. Right? So I'm American,
really,
and I'm just going to register in this area because, hey, everyone in this area tends to be a Democrat. Everyone in this area tends to be a Republican. Whichever, it doesn't matter. Just go in and join that party and just say, no, but I'm an American and I'm doing it the right way, and you are too. Across the board. Tens of thousands of people moving out into the political infrastructure of this party system, and just take it over. Vote people in that are the Americans, and never try to say, well, we have got an American party. Don't fall into the trap.
Yeah, the whole idea of like, okay, everybody's doing it is kind of the mentality, right? Like, so it's like, well, because you're a Democrat, or so you think, well, everything they support, then you end up having to support, right? And if you're a Republican, everything they support, you got to support. Well, that's not the way it works in real life, right?
Right.
We're individuals. That's part of just being independent, making up your own mind, having your own opinion about things.
And one of the things that Candace Owens was beaten down on them was saying, it's like, and Kanye as well, both saying, you can't tell me what to think. You can't tell me what to think. I'm going to think what I think, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. If I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. It doesn't affect my color. It doesn't make me a racist. It doesn't make me a fascist. It doesn't make me a Nazi. Because I don't agree with you.
Right. And that's something that drives me crazy. Like, you see it everywhere. It's like you have this whole aspiring group of kind of androgynous millennials, right? They're like somewhere between, like, I really can't tell. I'm not kidding about this. You have this obese population of kind of emasculated, or not emasculated, but kind of masculinized women, right? And then you have this group of obese, emasculated guys, right? And you could see them arguing, going off, and you wouldn't know if they were meant. That's their ideal society, right? Because it's just,
you can't tell who's a male and who's a female.
Yeah, you stand for nothing. Yeah, and neither nothing about them is correct.
And all
nothing.
You could do,
not the way they talk.
And all you could do is cast names at each other.
Right. Because but the reality is that, it's like, because you hate yourself, right? You feel insecure about yourself. You don't, and that's an overwhelming feeling. So you have to blame somebody else. So instead of looking for a solution, you don't want a solution. You want a reason. So you don't want. It's like you don't want to be happy. You want a reason why you're not happy, right? And that's what they look for instead. And so that's what the socialist movement is, right? The socialist movement is not a solution to the discomfort people feel. What it is it's a reason, right? It's something to blame. You can blame the Republican because this happened, or blame the Democrats. How about we all just take 100% responsibility for who we are and the world we're living in, and we all say, let's do something about it instead of sitting back on our ass and watching TV.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Anybody in Arizona, I need minimum. I need 27 people in Arizona. We're going to call an assembly. We're going to call a grand jury. I also need people who actively want to get involved and help serve. We're going to put out cease and desist letters to the actual court there. We're actually going to put out. We need courtroom observers there to start going in and targeting this court and this judge. We're going to be putting out notice. We have a whole system right now that we're about to lay out on the Federal Trade Commission for taking this business out. And I'll tell you something. When I realized how many options there are, and if you could have heard the heartbreak in this man's voice, having his business that he built up, and the 6,000 people that work for them, right? They're like affiliates. They're get the product. They can't get the product. They sell the product or make money off it, right? some of it's just stay-at-home moms who make an extra $500 a month, and that's great, right? It's a huge benefit to them.
Yeah.
And the Federal Trade Commission just came in and just chopped it, right? And they didn't even do any research, right? They didn't even care.
Yeah.
All they cared about was taking them out. So they never work in our favor. Now, the Federal Trade Commission was established in 1914, right after the Federal Reserve,
Right.
So basically, you have, this proposal. You have Woodrow Wilson, who basically wanted to do away with the Constitution as well, right?
Yeah.
So he just wanted to kind of impose this aristocracy, right? Now check this out. This just happened. Harvard Law Review just had a major proposal they put out, and they basically said, this is on Act 22. They basically said they want to do away with the Electoral College. They want to do away with the state senators altogether, and they want to have state representatives in the surrounding territories around Washington, D.C. And that way you get a more balanced representation but they live there in D.C. So basically what they're saying is we want the crown to be in control. In Harvard Law Review, this is a big deal because this basically gives them a way to challenge the Constitution or to bypass the Constitution.
Well, it's because they want to go. It's all about D.C. right, and the U.S. incorporated Constitution that's where they are, and they know they're going to be losing their position, right, as being looked at as the government for the country, all the citizenry, right, where they're not, right. It's just the people that have been duped into saying, yeah, I am a citizen, and not of the state, but of Washington, D.C.
Right. So they would be the aristocracy, and everybody would be trying to get into that area, right?
Right.
And it's so fascinating.
Another reason why putting the pieces of the puzzle together, what was going on with this gun confiscation in Northern Virginia, they want to get rid of the guns in that area because they don't want people to challenge them as they take over.
Right. They're trying their best, like the Sun Tzu Art of War kind of stuff. Never go into a battle that you haven't already won, right? It's like the whole idea. But they can't win. They can't win. They can't anticipate, the next move from the people. Now, I think that the Harvard Law Review did this in part because of Lawful America and groups like ours that are finally taking action. Yeah. So they're like, we need to suppress this constitutional movement, or they're going to realize that the Constitution is actually the supreme law of the land. And if the people realize that when we talk about the Bill of Rights and your fundamental rights and unalienable rights, that these are real, that we can't just take them away the way we've been doing.
And the ones and the ones you've been looking to safeguard those, we're actually saying, yeah, we're safeguarding these for you, but not really. They're actually using you and saying, yeah, we're doing our best to make sure that we safeguard these for you, and we're buying it. But by the way, pay tax and get us more debt and owe us more and owe us more and owe us more.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you have this. It's just an incredible. That's a big deal because people have such a reverential respect for Harvard Law, right? And it's like because that's where the cabal is now. Dr. Shiva, right? Who's like famous? He invented email, right? And
yeah. I just saw that.
Now, I think he's also a professor at MIT, right? But he was saying that like the cabal, like the center hub, is the 1 mile distance between MIT and Harvard, which makes sense as well, right? So you have Harvard that controls your business and your law. You have MIT, which is really known for their technology. Right. So it's the perfect mixture for like Lockheed Martin, right? And it's like, and he's saying like he knows exactly what they're doing. And he's also big on the vaccines. Like he's actually the vice president. The first time Michael Bean, who's the vice president for Lawful America, called me, Dr. Shiva was in the car with us, so we talked about it.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so that's somebody who's going to work with us. And by the way, he has a whole network like a separate kind of a off the grid network. Because the guy's a genius, right? That's our goal is to like be able to like look, to really get him on board with the law itself. So we've been working on that, getting to that point in the conversation. But he's busy. We're busy. So, but it's right here. I mean, all this stuff is happening. That's a big deal with Harvard Law. It's huge because it really shows. I mean, this is the truth. It's the people really dictating what's happening, right? Why is Harvard Law doing that in January, right? They just did this January 20th, I believe it was. Why are they doing that now? Because we just launched. Because we're bringing the fight to them. We're forcing them to react to us. Right? Now, that's why we need people in every single county, in every single state to step up, and we need to establish the de jure government, right? The people's government, not the de facto government. Now, that's a government that we put in place, and we allow them to play that role for as long as they abide by the Constitution, which they have not done.
Right.
Therefore, the people have to now do that and say, okay, you guys are fired because you suck, right? You guys are not doing a good job. But most particularly, that's why you have now, I think it's 218 constitutional judges that Trump has put in place.
Yep.
So every judge who's not part of that.
By the way, that's like 40 more than like in December. 40. And so
40 more were added.
40 more judges since December, because it was at 100, like a 185 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, right? Which is great.
Yeah, so
because now that means like a quarter of the judges now.
And the ninth circuit has been flipped.
Oh, guess what? That's out of Phoenix, right? In there.
The whole western region, but California, Arizona, Nevada, all the ninth district, and this is where all of these really bad decisions always, where the most amount of overturned decisions by the Supreme Court come from the Ninth Circuit, because they put up all this craziness, right? And so now Trump has flipped it.
We are definitely. That's great news, because we're going to push that envelope, put that to the test, because this judge that I'm talking about, and these bad decisions that were made about this business, this thriving business, that they're trying to run these people out of business. We're about to file tort claims against them, the judges, for damages for dereliction of duty, the injury they've done to the actual people themselves. We're actually putting a cease and desist immediately against them to have them stop this injunction on their business. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. It all comes back to the banks. And I'm like, I cannot wait. I'm telling you, this day is coming. I cannot wait until they try some dumb thing like this, and we can just call the bank and they'll treat us with the same level of respect they treat the Rothschild with. We'll call the bank and say, what are you doing? Immediately take that freeze off of my account. And we'll say, oh, yes, Mr. Whomever or Mrs. Whomever, I apologize. It must be an oversight on our part. Because that's how it should be. You should not be allowed to freeze someone's livelihood, right? That's a horrible violation. Like this, that kind of damage on mass scale to me. I mean, because I got taken out of business like years ago. I got pushed out just like this, and when I see it happen, then I have no idea what to do.
Man, So have these guys thought about just flipping over to Bitcoin? Because then it's not, just do it as a private club, and they have no jurisdiction in it. They can accept all the payment they want and pay for things in Bitcoin, and you don't have to collect names, and you can just send it out to use. If they had a problem with the post office, there's private shippers, right? Probably they're using them anyway. So all of this stuff could be, just transferred over. Wouldn't take much time. There's so much ways of adding that as a payment system to anything. It would take virtually no time, and most people would be able to figure it out right now. The hump has been overcome. And you could do some training videos to make it, overcome that, and they could start sending it out again.
You know, this is where the benefit is with the wallet system, right? It's like, hey, you have people when people sign up,
Yeah.
you have them you automatically set them up with a wallet, right?
Yeah.
I realize with the Guardian and Camelot Association, right? So literally, I can have a million different DBAs, right, doing business as, and we can literally bring people in. And I was talking about this because it's. Go ahead.
So I said, why do you need to have a DBA?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like with this organization, right? So the only reason why the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, can come in and just shut down their accounts is because they're a corporation.
Yeah. And they're
If they
using
weren't a corporation-
they're using the securities of USD.
Yeah. So I mean,
Those two,
Like, I don't
the
see-
combination
like,
of both of those. So just form a private
Yeah.
association. You just switch to Bitcoin payment system and get everyone to agree with a private membership. That's it, and they have no jurisdiction over it.
I can't. I struggle with Bitcoin. I just.
I
can't.
I get it, but at the same time, it's the only alternative that's there at the moment, and if that's what gets this into the hands of people to cure people, or increase their health, or to pay bills.
I do agree. What you're saying, the principle, I get it. I just, it's just.
You can use gold grains.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, but like, like however that goes, I just feel like we should just be able to use money for the love of God. I shouldn't have to chase around coupons and find tricks. Now, Dan, you have a unique story, right? Like they debanked you or unbanked you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like.
And all I did was talk about, M1 and the monetary system, how it actually is, and what happened, and what I discovered, and start doing interviews with the, M1, and boom, like what? I see my viral video, 4,000 views an hour going up, right? It hit 86,000, and boom, down to zero.
Yeah.
And every time it goes up over 80,000 something, they reset it. So I've seen it reset 3 times, that same video. So it still gets views. All right.
Yeah.
But, it should be at I don't know, it could be 1 million views already. I have no idea.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
I remember when I was actually when I was doing conference calls in the RV, right? And in hindsight, I was being used to put out a message, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, we would, I wouldn't even tell people I was coming on a call, right? And like 15 minutes before they'd give a warning I was coming on a call, and the numbers would increase. Like we'd have like 4,000 people in like a matter of 15 minutes just listening on the call, right, live. Then I remember this happening because I started getting back my reports, like the transcripts from the call, and they'd be translated in different languages from all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, and so I got the analytics on some of these, where some of these calls would hit 1 million people, a conference call. Why would that happen? That happened because I was putting out the message they wanted out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they allowed it to go out, right? Translated, hey, spread the word. That is, that's not the message that changes the world. That's the message that keeps the world in their control.
Yeah.
So this is the constant fight, right?
Yeah. Well, the law of unintended consequences comes into play here for these cabal that decide to go ahead and invent Bitcoin. Is they don't really know technology. They don't understand it. And when these things come about, like the internet, right? The internet is their undoing. But they wanted everyone connected. They want to get anyone into the social media. They bring everyone, and but at the same time, it's the double-edged sword that actually ends up killing them. So with Bitcoin or the technology of blockchain, and it's just an accounting system, like JIT accounting. So that's why I relate it to is like it's just a tool. Yeah, if the people behind the scenes that actually have like an extra million Bitcoin hanging out on the side, right? And they're waiting for their time and place. Aha! Now we own the world because everyone's using Bitcoin. Yeah, because we got 1 million out of the 21 million.
Right.
It's they're okay. That's their plan. But by the way, how many others have come about, right? And how many of them are taking things in different directions? Steam It, for example, it's kind of a gaming social media type of blockchain environment, but it also promotes a way for people to write their own information, their own blog, and get paid in micropayments for it. And if it actually goes viral, then hey, they make some money off of it, right? But it's its own little ecosystem. But they all are, and it's going to actually continue to sweep across the world, and it's not stoppable. It's not. It is the direction that technology is going to continue to flow. But what that changes into would literally be, even one example, voting. Right? If you voted in the Iowa caucuses on the blockchain, your vote's still sitting there. It can't be changed. You can count it. The system counts it. So there's many voting systems and social groups that people are grabbing this blockchain technology and say, oh yeah, we're going to add a voting system to this and all of our members will be able to do this. So now, none of these has gotten big yet. Steam It, I think, would be one of the biggest right now, and top cryptos out there. But this is a tool. So not to use Bitcoin. When you can open your business tomorrow, right? Literally, it takes hours to add this as a payment system to your existing website, right? And your people just say, okay, I got to get Bitcoin. You say, here's a couple of links. Go get yourself some Bitcoin, right? And then their problem is solved, and they don't go out of business. They're not drawn out 90 days and 6 months and then 2 years, and and then they say, okay, yeah, you win. We were wrong. Yeah, 3 years later, and it's like, okay, well, what about all the business I lost?
Well, yeah,
what about my life?
Like this, they're very deliberate in this attack, and,
right.
And to be honest, it wouldn't matter if something slipped over Bitcoin. Matter of fact, it might even draw worse attention because they're still going to acknowledge Bitcoin as a currency.
No, it's
not.
It's okay if it's a currency. Actually, it's not a security then.
But I'm saying how they would have handled it if they tried to go that path right now. They would still knock it out. Like they're not just going to say, "Oh, you guys went to Bitcoin. We'll just ignore it now."
No, they literally they don't have a jurisdiction. They might file something, but they still don't. But you can still be in operation. They can't close down your Bitcoin account. They can't take your Bitcoin.
Come on, they can. What are you talking about?
No, they can't.
Like they shut people's emails off. They shut everything off. Of course they can. The Bitcoin runs on the back server of the NSA. So yes, they can. They definitely can.
Okay, well, I don't know anywhere where that's occurred, right?
Well,
listen.
I know. A dozen people.
No, listen.
Bitcoin.
Sure. Well, if you're in Coinbase, right? If you're in the one that's the biggest ones on the planet that all basically went and bowed to them and said, yes, whatever you say, we'll give you all the access that you want, and they own the private keys of your wallet, then you have no control. But if you have a wallet where you have your private keys, they can't take it from you. Doesn't matter what server has it anywhere. They can shut down all of Bitcoin, okay, but that's not going to happen.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's like whatever the keys are. Like it's like what was the Bitcoin where the owner had all this value in whatever coin it was, crypto. Then he died.
Sure.
And then everybody lost value because he had the keys, right?
Sure.
So, and then it's like, where'd the keys come from?
Well, if I had a bunch of gold and I buried it in the backyard and I had a map, a secret map, and then I hid my map and nobody knows where the map is, it's the same thing. It's still my gold, and I'm dead. And if someone finds it, one day, but yeah, then my family gets it. But yeah, if you're stupid enough to die without providing the keys to your next of kin, those things happens. But that doesn't mean that it's not safe. Listen, I've had no problems since I switched to Bitcoin, right? And getting anything I needed paid for, or doing anything I needed to do, paying anyone anything. There's some explanation sometimes when people don't know what it is, but as soon as you give some, hey, look at this video and this video, okay, I got it, and they usually do the deal. They usually make a barter with you. So what you're doing, you're bartering, right? And it's, I've got this, we'll trade it. It's a medium of exchange called a currency.
That's what most people say about regular currency. I've never had problems with that. Like, matter of fact, I many times I've been talking to people.
Well, I've had problems with it. I actually don't know anyone who hasn't had problems. Like, everyone has problems with it.
There's never problems until there's problems, right? Like,
well, I don't know anyone that hasn't had problems with banks and money. Everyone says, hey, they took money out of my account. I don't know anyone. Everyone says, yeah, the bank did this or the bank did that. Hey, they decided to put a lien on there or hold on this and do that. No, I think there's a lot of problems with money, or the USD financial system. So we could go round and round, but anyway, if you want, I'll talk to him and see if if I can help him get back up and running. But
no, man, you cannot talk to him.
Okay, if you're watching, my my contact information is down below in the video.
You're not called Dan.
Oh, my phone's ringing.
No, I don't know, Dan. We'll see.
My phone's ringing. Just hang on.
Okay.
Hello. Yes.
Hey.
Yeah. I'm just joking. That wasn't ringing.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. I might think about that. We'll see what happens. But anyways, but in the meantime, we're gonna attack them from like 19 different sides of the law. It's amazing now that I see all the ways that you can change things if you just file the right paperwork. You know what they're counting on most of the time is that you're going to take the counsel of your attorney who's conspiring against you.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's time to break this open.
Yeah, no, it's the attorney problem is part of this. Listen, I know some good attorneys. I really, really know really good guys, right? But they're in the system, right? And they have to play ball, or they lose their livelihood, right? They're just as much a prisoner as the rest of us, right? They just are elevated above us in the system, right? And then and these are people that go into the politics, right, and into Congress and government.
Yeah.
So
when we talk about this with the projects, with the project owners, I've always been very clear about this for years, is that we have to rebuild everything, right? Yep. Like we have to create new production lines, we have to mine new resources, we have to make sure that the ownership is in the hands of the people so that we can build up, right, the projects, right? So that there's no aspect of the production line that can be removed by, someone in a castle in, Belgium somewhere who just decides that he's going to tank our business, right, or prevent our invention from coming out, right? I guess I didn't appreciate the extent, like, now that we're doing this, like, we're building on the law side, and it's not so much even that it's new, but we're just, declaring and establishing the actual lawful authority of the people. And I realized, like, wow, the bigger it gets, we need representatives in every single county in the country. There's 3,300 counties in the country, right? Multiplied by at least 27 representatives. Every single person, and by the way, from that, we will ultimately end up providing full-time positions in every one of those areas. So you got to think, you're going to need people that are full-time de jure government, like full-time people's government. So that'll probably create, 33,000 jobs by the time we're done, somewhere in that range. So imagine like one thing, it'd be 33,000 jobs, and that's just
No, it's just
that's just
like double that.
or triple, because you got to think
Triple, yeah.
you're going to have a
So let's
brand new sheriff's
let's
force.
just make it 100,000 jobs.
Yeah, easily 100,000 jobs. And then like we're gonna have to establish a real, reverse governing system, right?
Yeah.
So like the American Republic Marshals, and I'm thinking we'll introduce anti-gravitational technology at the same time, and just to really level the playing field, because we probably won't have as many, marshals as we'll have like all these other fake police forces. So we're gonna come out with like really cool like anti-grav motorcycles like zip around all over the place. Go after the bad guys.
Did I happen to see a really cool badge in the group that said Row 001?
That's the American Republic Marshals actual, official badge. That's mine, and I have. It's the numbers we use are the ARN dash, and then it's like 00 whatever. So mine is the first one made. So
okay, can you make mine 0001? Put 3 zeros in a 1.
Nope. No, I can't, Dan. I don't want people to get confused.
Oh, okay. Well, you got 3. You got 2 zeros in a 1. I just put 3 zeros in a 1.
I know. I was. Yeah. I wanted to be the first one out there. Everything else is much more complicated.
I know. I just noticed that you had that. I said, "Oh, what about mine? I'll have to be number 2 now."
I know. I looked into it extensively, make sure it was okay to get, make sure it was that I wasn't breaking any laws by going through that process. So, but I really want to establish the law of the people, because the next thing we're setting up our own national grand jury, right? Because if we try to go to every county, by the time we get there, it'll take a couple of years to really get this done right.
Yeah.
So we need a national grand jury who can, come together like full time. Like I think that's gonna have to be when we have a full time grand jury.
So I'm not really. I don't know much at all about a national on the national scale. I mean, I get it for the states, but under what? Where does it come for the national? Is it in the Constitution that it goes for a national?
So, federal crimes, when it comes to federal issues.
But I thought the federal crimes still go by state. That you have to call it in by a state grand jury. But maybe I'm just a little I just didn't have enough information.
I'm basing this on what the chief told me, and Judge Johnson, who was a federal court judge, and and obviously the chief was a U.S. Marshal. So they've told me, and they've been incredibly helpful and really spot on. So the chief said we can set up a federal or a national grand jury. So I feel like with anything that, like, we're going after the CDC and the FDA, right? It's like I feel like we have to do it through a national grand jury, which is what the National Liberty Alliance, I believe, they have set up too. But I pray this Thursday, National Liberty Alliance comes out and just comes with the guns, right? It comes out and lays the smack down, right? It says these are the indictments that are being levied, and because they are very, very thorough, right? And they have had a lot of success going through and identifying when the courts have failed with the due process. Now, right now, you could argue just due process for the vaccines in New York. They are assuming that we agree to a mandate based on false research to inject our children with poison, right? Like, I don't agree. And it was never presented to us. You never put us through due process. You didn't provide informed consent, right?
Right.
You haven't done any research, like all these things. So it's like, so I'm like, this is irrefutable evidence. And that's the thing with the grand juries. You just have to bring them irrefutable evidence. It has to be absolute fact, which we bombarded them with so many facts.
That's what
and they'll act the right way.
I was just recalling this, like I mentioned this before. So I think that if Trump just was to create an executive order, just like any regulation based upon these laws / statutes that were put into place that required, say, testing or proof before they proceed and all this kind of stuff, and they haven't done it, that this, all of it is just gone. All laws built upon those false setups. It's like, they're supposed to do the testing. They didn't do it. So, okay, anything that came after that is now null and void. Right, and just to have him do it at the executive with the executive order.
I'll be honest with you. Once we get this, like a couple pieces here, where he is going to do it, because at the end of the day, as powerful as President Trump is, he's still subject to the will of the people. So if you have a grand jury that deliberates and says this, according to the Constitution, is a no law, the people have come together and have acknowledged the freaking obvious point that is true. You, as the sole member of the executive branch, it is your job to ensure that is made known to the Congress and to the Senate and to every state that is a no law. Now, and to be honest, that is what it comes down to. It's they're subject to the will of the people. Now, if the people come together in an organized way, and they are pointing out what's already there. A lot of times these courts just get away with things because no one even knows how to challenge them.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I think that's the majority of it. Yeah, so no one knows what to do, because how are you supposed to know? Everything is actually an illusion.
I know.
So it's like it's so complicated to figure it out because there's so much false stuff thrown at us about, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. Oh, here, confirm with your attorney. One thing is I know is like from Trump's character is that he actually does believe that he's there to serve the people, right? His attitude says that, right? Everything about him is that he's doing this and he's doing it by the will of the people. Compared to say Nancy Pelosi or any of these other cast of characters from that side, that they it doesn't matter what they say, but their attitudes and how they react and how they do things, that they don't care at all about what the people say.
They're so burdened that they have to deal with us. They're like they're just so irritated. They're like, ugh.
No, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, they're so burdened that they have to deal with us. Oh, we have to deal with them again?
Yeah, it's like, that is exactly how they feel. They're just like, God, like, they're just we're just beneath them. It's rather, oh, you know what? I do have some news, actually. This is pretty exciting.
Yes.
I don't know if I can share it, though.
Thanks for the teaser.
Sorry. Denmark is amazing. The team we have out there in Denmark, Susan Hogman and that whole group, they actually have this really amazing. He's an organic farmer, but he's also a genius when it comes to banking, I guess, right? And they have an entirely new banking system they proposed, right, to manage everything. They designed the whole thing out. And Denmark's so thorough and efficient, but I got to check, make sure I can share it before I just put it out there.
Okay.
But it's really amazing. Like, some of the stuff they've done is just incredible. Oh, man. I can't wait to actually start doing projects and actually start doing what we're here for. I mean, this is.
I know. Excited. It's one of those things. It's like totally amazing how many. I wrote this plan. Now I retitled it. Positive capitalism, right? But I basically called it the Abundance Mind Project. That was the first title, that I wrote it out. I intended to give it to two people. Trump and Duterte here in the Philippines. Okay. And it was basically just it was about using cryptocurrency, but it was actually, this is how the system could function, right? This is a model, another way of doing a whole financial system that would change the dynamic, still keeping the existing one in place, which is of utmost importance. I mean, to allow it to exist while the other one grows, right? So you have to allow the other one to grow from a seed, right? To grow the strong trunk and branches and everything, while the other one is there dying, right? And you have to let it go, right? And let it and support it, right? You got to support it. You don't throw it aside. So anyway, I was going through it and thinking about how much since I wrote this 4 years ago. How much more I know, and how much better the system that is really incorporated into the Kringle Gold and this ecosystem I'm developing. How much more this is actually going to be able to be successful, right? And again, it's just by learning and experiencing different things, and even now with what's going on now, incorporating a wallet system that would be able to be acting, where everyone acts as their own bank, okay? Which is a big thing in the crypto world. It's actually one of the main themes is everybody is their own bank. That's how it functions, right? Is everybody is their own. It's another reason why they have no say over anything, because it's not their money. So
right. Great point. So now you know all this more stuff. I mean, and it's funny. It's amazing how time, like in this condensed period of time, out you're forced to learn. Like you were forced out of the banks, right? So you had to learn all this stuff, and then just your process, like just kind of creating as you go, right?
Yeah.
Like here, like this. Here's our latest. Let's see here. Here's our latest guide. Now I can't show this, right? But I think it's worth even looking at just to know that we have it, right?
Okay.
But this is like for internal usage only, right? So we have the courtroom observers, officially. Like we have the actual guide ready to go to walk people through these steps, and that I gotta tell you, I'm so proud of the Lawful America team, for the way they put this stuff together. It's really incredible. It's a lot of work, and it's like, and it's so official. They're so thorough in the work they're putting out there, and I realize this takes so much organization, and we're not quite there really right yet. And we're pushing, but we need to be more organized so it's clear for everyone, right? Because everybody needs to be on board. But you know what I've seen, which excites me, is like all these different groups, right? There's this alliance group out in California who wants to come on board, right? And they're their own group. And we're kind of like, look, at the end of the day, we know that we don't know the most, right? We know that. We know there's people that know more stuff. But we're like, at the end of the day, you're going to have to come in and contribute, but we're going to have the final say. Like, you got to kind of come under our umbrella, and work with us. But, like, you'll contribute. It'll be part of what you make, right? Because the Lawful America is even the name, it's what we're trying to create, right?
Right.
And you have Lawful Haiti coming up next that we're working on. You have Lawful, Mongolia that's working, and Lawful Australia, and that's what we should all be looking for, right? Like, why not? It's so much more simple. Like, no one should be able to create nonstop regulations as they go to suit their needs, right?
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't have an impeachment happening with Congress that as they go, they just kind of make up the rules however they want to do it.
Oh yeah, there was no rules to that. It was like, what do they feel like today?
Yeah, like I've never seen anything, but it's what's so interesting to me though is so Kim was saying back in 2017, right? And she was talking about the frequency and the source energy that was available here, right? Because there wasn't much, it was hard to even vibrate at a frequency that would be conducive to seeing things, right, and really experiencing and learning and being the potential, living up to our potential, right? So it makes me wonder: has it always been this pathetic, and we were just clueless because there wasn't enough, like we just were vibrating at a lower frequency, and now because the collective, frequency of so many are rising.
I think that we actually have been muted, from we go back 200 years, time of the Revolutionary War, back then, and the people, all of that, they came out of the Dark Ages. Think about that, right? And they elevated from there, and they had all of these, people that were, in this new country and looking at building brand new things, and they didn't want to be under the thumb of the king. The king forced them into that, right, because of taxation, right? He didn't like that they were able to make so much, right? So he kept taxing and taxing because he knew if they made so much that they wouldn't need him. Right. Yeah. So that's where this all came in. And you can go back and see that everything that they were doing back then was still illusionary, convincing people that it was one way, but the legal document said otherwise. Right? And just getting the masses to go along with it because they think that they're doing something. But when it came push to shove, they had no standing. The people had no standing, and that's the same way. Like we were saying with them making up their rules and the impeachment, they didn't care a bit about any rules, right? If the Republicans were doing something and they said, "Oh, we're just going to do exactly the same thing. Oh, forget about this. We're going to go into the sub basement and hold a closed door hearing on Hillary for president, right? And what's happening with Hillary? And you can't call any witnesses and." But that's against the rules. So, the Republicans, the Democrats would be enforcing this, right? And the Republicans would go along with it because they're abiding by the rules.
Well, that's the hard part about being the good guy, right?
Yeah.
Like the good guy superheroes, it's like not only do you have to overcome, you have to be the strongest and smartest and the best and whatever, you also have to, make sure that when you're in the middle of a fight, that you don't just wipe out a whole bunch of women and children, right, while you're battling, right?
Right.
You actually have to consider the damage you're doing and make sure that you operate by the rules too, which is what makes it so really tough at times.
Right.
because the bad guys don't care who they kill, who they hurt, what's happening.
Well, the good thing on this one thing is that really the rules that they're supposed to be going by are all no law. They're all based upon this fraud. So they're working under the Republic. All these rules that were put in place, they're not valid.
Yeah.
So they just go ahead and say, okay, we're gonna say, hey, you made up the rules as you go along. We're gonna make up some.
Well, we really have to make up rules, right? It's like at the end of the day, citizen, sovereign citizen, national, all these little catchphrases and terms they think they got us on, like, aha, I got you. No, you don't. No, you don't. It does not matter. It does not, like these things that they have tricked us into thinking this is so important. It's only important if we give those things power.
Right.
So if the people are the ones that control the power, what the hell do I care what some random lawyer says a word on a piece of paper means legally according to the Crown's law and according to the legalese that made sense in another country which does not have control of us, right? The words mean whatever the hell we say they mean. We can mispronounce them, we can say them wrong, we can even spell them wrong. That does not change the spirit of what we're trying to say. And that is what people need to stand with confidence on, right? We're so used to getting tricked into any little thing, right? A bully comes along and says, no, sorry, it's not how it works, right? You don't have the bloodline to get in here. Sorry, only members of the the J Club get in this place. All their bullshit that they're playing. Enough. Let my yays mean yay, and my nays mean nay, whatever it is, right? Like Let my word be my bond. And let that be the strength of who we are. Enough of their garbage. They only have power because we let them. I watched it a million times. I used to be terrified of the police. I got arrested like 6 times for the same ticket when I was a kid. I was so scared. To this day, I still wear my shoes in the house because they would take my shoes. Right? And I spent the night in jail. Terrified me. Now I'm like, cops pull me over. I'm like, what's your problem? I'm like, where's your own officer? Tell me who you are. You're no different than me. Why are you harassing? Why do you have a gun and you're pulling me over to this place? What damage did I do? All these things, just by knowing your rights, it's so empowering.
Right.
Right.
And it's true.
Ignorance will kill you.
Yeah. We're all much smarter now. So let's. All right. So are we good for today?
I'm good, man. Appreciate it as always.
Yeah, I know this became one of the longer. We're hitting an hour and 20 minutes, but that's okay.
We're gonna hear about it, I'm sure. All right, man. You have a good night, everybody. Peace out from New York.
All right. Good night. Good night, everyone. Be sure to subscribe and share. Go to www.wga.love. And you can get a membership there. There's free memberships, and there's also, if you'd like to contribute, $1.11 a month, $8.88 a month, or $99.99 a year, plus others for. I didn't activate them yet, but I already put them up where you actually have get contributions of gold grain coins coming to you. I think I'll activate those today, so check back and take a look. Anyway, look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.